You want to know how to steal a house? Have you ever said that to an agent, I want to steal a house? Well, I am going to tell you how to do that today. Hi, I'm Michele Replogle, Coldwell Realty. Now, I am not going to teach you how to back up a trailer to a house and put it on the trailer and run away with it in the middle of the night. Not that kind of stealing. And not the way you might think, and I'll explain the 3 things I get asked by buyers, but some more practical tips on actually how to kind of weasel your way into the market through other, ways of looking at things. Let's just put it that way. So I get asked by buyers. I get interviewed by buyers all the time. They call me and they're like, I'm talking to agents and I want to know what you can do for me. And that's all good. Generally these interview appointments that go like that they're not very fruitful. Partly because I think they've already chosen who they want to use and they're just looking for someone to maybe get them a better deal like that could happen. Instead of just really getting into kind of the meat of the matter of what it really takes to buy. What do you really need to do to succeed in this market? And one thing I can tell you today, August 2022, there's really, the market's not crashing at this moment. It's not cratering as everybody believes. So actually getting that deal is still a little bit more elusive than buyers like to believe. I get told all the time by buyers and their agents, well, the market's going down, values are going down. And it's like, really? Then how come you're my second offer in the last 24 hours? Or, there's another offer coming behind you, or there's another showing, and they've expressed real serious interest. So that being said, when a buyer calls me and they're trying to kind of figure out how I'm going to get them a better deal, I really want to talk with them about how it takes to be successful in any market to make sure that you get the right house and that you're comfortable, with what you're paying for it, even, a lower price or, whatever price you're paying for it. I will tell you, first off, how much do you want to pay? Have you talked to a lender? Do you know what neighborhoods that price point will afford you? In Santa Cruz, we have the west side of Santa Cruz, which is always really very much in demand. I talk about it a lot. There's the middle of Santa Cruz right before you hit the real high traffic impact. That area of Live Oak and a little bit of Pleasure Point, that area's gotten very, very hot. And Aptos and Soquel, those prices are pretty decent too, but they don't really see the actual highest prices like the west side, just partly because of their accessibility. So there's all those things to consider. You need to know how much you're going to pay, where you're going to live. And ultimately, it's best to be hyper-focused on where you want to live. And I'm going to explain that in a minute. And before I forget, please subscribe to my channel. I always forget to ask. Of course, I always say that I forget to ask. But anyway, okay. So how do you steal a house? Let's go over it. There's 3 things I want you to know. First, hire your agent, get your agent, one that has already discussed with you about where you want to live, what the financial climate is, that what's the micro market in that area. What kind of houses are you going to get in that area? Are there specific areas that you don't want to live within that area? Like for Aptos, the freeway kind of divides it. So there's the ocean side and then there's the forest side. So have you kind of gone through those different microclimates and then those micro markets? And also because the freeway runs through it, some of those properties have freeway noise. Okay. So now you got your neighborhood, you know where you want to live, and you've got your agent and you've got your lender letter. What's the next thing? Well, look for properties that have a lot of days on market. Now we're starting to get into that market where you'll see properties have been on more than the 9 to 12 days, which is a normal listing cycle in a hot market. Now we're starting to see 24 to 30 days. The days on market is key to writing an offer that might get accepted or counteroffered and looked at by a seller when the seller is starting to go, okay, my price wasn't working and I'm ready to, make a deal. So there's that. And then there's the other thing, which I'm a little pensive about saying this because it seems really mean, but Under marketing, poorly marketed listings. So look for houses where the agent took the picture. I talk a lot in my videos how important professional photography is. Well, do you know why it's so important? Is because when your photography is low, first you can't sell the house. You just, we don't need pictures of outback stables that are in disrepair or the chickens running around. Do you know years ago, an agent, and he's a top producer now, I don't think he'd ever do it, but he took a picture of the corner of the house and there was a couch there. I'll never forget that. I just won't forget it. It was a purple couch too. We used to see a lot of pictures of toilets. But poor marketing is a way to get in because they're not getting the traffic that the highly polished listings are. The ones with the staging or the house has been staged even though the seller's living there and they're beautiful, shiny pictures. They're getting a lot of activity. Now, they may not still be at the right price too, but they're getting the activity. They might even be getting lower offers, but the one that's poorly marketed and it has really bad pictures, I can tell you they're not getting the activity and they will be happy to be getting an offer. Now, one of the ways that people think that they can steal a house that I get asked about all the time is, do you help with foreclosures? Well, yeah, I help with foreclosures, but there isn't any. In our area, they're very few, and the ones that I am aware of are typically way up in the mountains. They're not the greatest of properties, or you see the foreclosure notice in the paper, but there's equity there. So either a family member is going to help them out or the bank will talk with them to, adjust their mortgage to help them get through this hard time. But rarely do they go for sale. Then when they do, they go onto an online marketplace and that requires cash. And often you don't get to see the property. You don't get to read the reports. All you know is the address and you get to drive by. So, you could steal a house that way, and I'm not saying it wouldn't help you do that, but the investor groups that work these markets, these high expensive markets, they're already there. They already got, the money's wired into the county, and they're already calling their contractor to put that thing on the market. So it's tough. It's not that I won't do it. And I think when I talk to people, they're thinking like, I won't help them do that. It's really hard. I can show you the avenues. You could go check it out, but it's just rare. And the investor groups are on it. Short sales, that's another way. Remember that used to be the thing. You could get a really good deal on short sales. You know what? Today, you might even be involved, written an offer on a short sale, and you didn't even know it because there was enough equity and that seller was getting out. And actually, I did one, I want to say in the last year, we actually did one, and I didn't really realize it till we were like 3/4 of the way. That seller was underwater. And they had not made a few payments and they hadn't paid their taxes. And I was like, oh, wow, this is a distressed sale property. And that seller was getting out. Now they did fine. And it was barely recognizable at all. And it really was a distressed sale. And we were involved in it. But that's really what I'm saying, what they look like. You may not even know you're involved in one, or you're in contract with a distressed seller that needs to sell a property because of the equity. From where they bought it and what they owe on it and what they can get, there's still a gap there that they're going to be able to walk away. So, with some money in their pocket. So we're just, and it's cratering so far. It's not happening. We have a lot of people with equity in their homes. So there's that. And then there's like, well, the next one is, well, will you write lowball offers? Sure, I will. No problem. But do you want the house? Because ultimately my job is to get you the house. And sometimes I have to say, seller, I know this isn't what you wanted to get for your property, but do you want to sell it? Because I know you got other things you want to do. This is what we need to do. We need to take this offer, run and get going. And, they're like, okay, that's where the market is. I don't overcome the market, but I try to get you as close as I can. And then for buyer, sure, we can write low offers, but if the seller isn't going to take it, Well, what is that going to do? You know what I mean? My job is really to get you the house ultimately and at the best possible price, or sell it at the best possible price. So what am I saying? Okay. To truly steal a house without trying to, unlock it from its bolts on its foundation and cart it away, you need to hire an agent. You need to get with a lender, or if you're using cash, make sure you have it fairly liquid and ready to go, because the seller and their agent are going to call you on it. Do you have this money that you've said you have? Look for homes that have longer days on market if possible, or look for poorly marketed homes that just don't seem to be getting a lot of traction. Another way to check that is to go to the open houses and see how much traffic they're getting, if any. Another little secret, aren't you glad you stayed to the end? How many business cards from agents are there? That can tell you how many showings or how much interest there is as well. And then, there's also just always trying. I'm not saying write lowball offers, because you might have a seller that won't let you come back to the table if it's so incredibly low. My sellers are always usually very open to a negotiation process, even on a low offer. But there's writing lower offers, and keep in mind, before I let you go, it's always time or money. It's time or money. There's terms, but those terms are always tied to time or money. So that's all I've got for you today. Please subscribe, call me, email me. I would love to chat more with you about this. And sorry I couldn't teach you how to steal a house using a trailer and some loosening of lug nuts, but we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.